What's going on, beautiful people? And welcome back to another comic book review video. I'm your majestic sailor before it's SuperCliff, and if you guys are new to this channel, then do me a solid by smashing that like and subscribe button, and also hit that notification bell so that you'll never miss out on an upload, and so that you'll always be kept up to date with your favorite top tier comics happening in the comic book world. And today, folks, we are covering the 2021 annual of Nightwing featuring Red Hood, written by the extremely talented Tom Taylor, with the art by Daniel HDR and Cian Tormey. And guys, if you haven't been keeping up with the series, then definitely check out the playlist within this video's description. It will help catch everyone up on what's been happening. Now check it, folks. For years now, both Dick Grayson and Jason Todd have stepped out of Batman's shadow, both walking extremely different paths, but nonetheless, their journeys have molded them into what they are today. But now their paths converge as these two brothers unite for a team-up session. With batons and crowbars combined, Nightwing and Red Hood are ready for anything, ready to kick ass and take some names. Thus, without further ado, let's get this show on the road. Alrighty, folks, so our story picks up with a guy named Mr. Linker, and what he's doing at the moment is that he's trying to flee as fast as he possibly can, because our guy here has so many enemies, and they are swarming all around him. In other words, there is blood in the water, and the sharks are coming. I love that line. Anyways, and so this guy has a huge target on his back, and so currently Mr. Linker is en route to his safe house, and with him are seemingly some hired mercenaries in order to make their boss get to his location safe and sound. But unfortunately, folks, shit happens because, it's DC Comics. Because this is when something comes pummeling down on top of the vehicle, and that something is Red Hood. And with that, Red Hood begins unloading his pistols on top of the vehicle, and we see it go crashing and going up in a fiery explosion. Red Hood then leaps off the vehicle in time, and we see him walking up and just taking these guys out. Legit, he is just John Wicking the poop out of everyone. And boom, Mr. Linker gets a bullet to the head. Meanwhile, we have Oracle and Nightwing watching everything that's going on via her computer. Now at first, they're both in absolute disbelief, thinking that this has to be someone else, like there's no way that this guy is Red Hood. But unfortunately, it is indeed Red Hood, aka Jason Todd, and he's back to using guns, and he's back to waging war against the criminal underworld. Now Dick asks Barbara on how she was able to get this body footage, but the twist, folks, is that this is the problem, because this is where the situation gets 10 times worse, because it's revealed that the bodyguards inside the vehicle were actually FBI agents, and that Mr. Linker was an inside informant. The FBI were taking him to a safe house to put him under protection, and now Red Hood has just killed their informant, as well as multiple agents, and that is where we see in the video where Jason Todd disappears. But the weird thing is that he never turned off his tracking for some weird reason. That's rookie mistake 101. And so because of that, it allows Oracle to track him down to an old warehouse. And Nightwing knows on what he has to do. He has to go confront his brother. He has to get to the bottom of this and find out exactly what the heck is going on. But that's what's going to take us to the past, where a Titan's Dick Grayson gets a phone call from Alfred saying that Batman needs him back at Wayne Manor. And so Dick Grayson's like, fine, I'll just drop everything happening because who cares about the Teen Titans? And with him getting back to Wayne Manor, he goes upstairs to where Alfred leads him into Jason Todd's room. Now Jason has been having a really hard time of late, and so Alfred thought that it was best that he talk to somebody that can actually understand what he's going through. And who better to talk to than Dick Grayson? Now Jason tells our hero that he failed Batman's test by not meeting up to his standards, not meeting the whole Robin-esque standard that Batman expects him to be. But Dick tells him that he knows how impossible Batman's standards are because he's a psychopath and a perfectionist. But Jason tells him that it's not that simple, because it's not Batman's standards I'm trying to reach, it's your standards. Living in the shadow of you, living in the shadow of your Robin has been one of the most difficult things that he's ever had to do, trying to follow in the footsteps of the Golden Boy, and that is because Batman is constantly comparing him to Dick Grayson, saying that Dick Grayson would have done this, Dick Grayson would have done that. And it's really hard for Jason because he's trying his best to follow Dick's footsteps in the way in which Batman would want him to, but, Jason Todd is a completely different person. And so for Jason, he's having a hard time accepting that because, he knows he's a different person, but Batman doesn't see it. But Dick Grayson lets him know there is more to being Robin than just whatever Batman is trying to teach you. And so he tells him to suit up, regardless of Batman saying that he has to be grounded, regardless of Batman being out of town. And of course, Alfred is 100% on board with this because Alfred's cool as shit. He's like awesome. And so we see these two ex-Robins suit up and they decide that they're going to take a ride in the Batmobile. And so with them riding into town, riding dirty, they're going to go out on patrol. Now, Dick Grayson is going to show him the ropes. He's going to show him what it means to be Robin. And he lets him know that Batman's not a talkative individual, but Robin has to be. And it's not just for the sake of it, because it's also a distraction. Batman and Robin are more effective if they try and play this sort of part, that Robin is the annoying one, and that he's also the one taking the attention away from Batman, and so that Batman can effectively make his move. But Robin doesn't just talk to make a distraction, he talks for the people. Because while Batman is a silent, brooding type, Robin has to be the one to reach out to the people and to the city's citizens to let them know that, they have a friend. They are here to protect them and to offer some kind of comfort. A guy in a Dark Knight suit and a Batman suit who looks, mean and brooding isn't going to really do that. And so we see the two of them going down the alleyway and they are taking down what appears to be a child kidnapper. And we see Nightwing and Robin and they go in full force. They take this guy down without a moment's pause. Now, with him going down and securing the young boy, Jason Todd goes over to this guy and he starts beating the shit out of him. And then Dick Grayson immediately is like, hey, yo, dude, calm down. The cops are coming. We did our part. Let's get out. Now, Dick Grayson, he can understand what Jason Todd is going through. He understands that he's angry, that, he wants to just unleash everything. But at the end of the day, they're Robins. They can't do that. They hold a golden standard for people. And so they have to portray that, not only for the people in the city, but for themselves. And so afterwards, Jason wants to know if he's going to tell Batman about everything that just happened. But Dick Grayson tells him that there's no way he snitched out on a brother, because brothers are supposed to have their secrets between one another. And that's what picks us up in the current day. And we have Nightwing meeting up with Red Hood at his warehouse. And Red Hood immediately tells Dick that he didn't do this. And Dick Grayson believes him. Now, at the end of the day, he needs proof that it wasn't him because, they saw the surveillance cameras. They saw the body cam footage from the agents. And so, he just needs to make sure. And with that, Jason Todd lifts up his shirt and is like, hey, I didn't get shot. I didn't do anything. I'm good. And it's with that where Nightwing confirms that this was done by a copycat. Someone was pretending to be Red Hood. Now, Nightwing already has his suspicions on who it might be, but he has to double check. And that's what takes him back to the site of the crime scene. And as Dick looks around, there is no sign of the bullet that struck his body, thinking that, that would be the prime clue that they would need. And with it being extremely rainy on a night that it took place, there is a good chance it ended up somewhere in the sewers. And that's why we see Red Hood down in the sewers as he's looking for the bullet. And it doesn't take much time for him to find it down there. Later, picking up at the former house of Bruce Wayne, Nightwing wants to run some analytics on whatever is going on with this bullet. Because when he was watching the surveillance, there was something very suspicious about it. Something kind of out of place. So he wants to double check and figure out what it is exactly that was so suspicious. And so with him running a scan, there are some remnants of clay left on the bullet. And so we know exactly what that means. It means that this was Clayface. Now, before they head out, Red Hood does reiterate that he has been done with guns for a while now. But with this being Clayface, he looks over to Mrs. Freeze's gun and thinks that it's good enough for at least one more go-around. If they're going to take on Clayface, they're going to need something to freeze him in place. And so with them taking out the Batmobile, they head into town. And right now, Red Hood is currently attacking a restaurant, or what appears to be Red Hood. But of course, we know that it's Clayface. And as we see the Batmobile come screaming through, they hit Clayface right in the face. And as Clayface goes flying everywhere, our two heroes get ready to fight as they chase Clayface down through the alleyway, to which we then see Batman, which immediately throws Red Hood off. But just for a second. However, Nightwing doesn't fall for it, and he goes in for the full attack. And with Nightwing going hand to hand, we see Red Hood take out the freeze gun, and as he's getting ready for his opportunity, And as soon as Nightwing gets out of the way, he lets go the freeze blast, and this puts Clayface down for good. Picking up a little bit later, they currently have Clayface in some kind of stasis, with only his head being unfrozen, so that he can divulge any information that he has regarding to why he is pretending to be Red Hood. And Clayface tells them that it's plain out simple, for that he is a loose cannon. Red Hood is a loose cannon. He is the one that will most obviously do this. And so Clayface did this in order to make Red Hood a prime target. Now Red Hood is extremely furious, and he wants to know who hired him, who put him up to this. And we find out that it was Wolfgang Bismol. And you're thinking like, okay, who's this guy? But Red Hood is already freaking out, because Red Hood actually knows who this guy is. And with that, Red Hood gets his crowbar, and he goes out to get this guy. Now, while en route, Dick Grayson asks him the question, hey, are you okay? Who is this guy? And Jason tells him that this guy, Wolfgang, was a dealer. He brought a lot of money with a lot of bad products into the city. And after he killed 83 people, he just simply disappeared. But he had hurt so many people that he actually got away with it. And that was the first time that Jason Todd had ever seen an overdose, for his mother suffered an overdose because of Wolfgang's products. And because of that, it was the first time that Jason Todd had ever had to use the phone to call the paramedics. Now the question is why would Clayface work with somebody like this? But the truth of the matter is that there is something wrong with Clayface's mind. And you can only assume that Wolfgang gave him something to ease the pain of his mental illness. And so Dick Grayson gets on the comms with Oracle, and he does everything that he can to stop a private jet from leaving that was set to leave Gotham, because Wolfgang is trying to disappear again. And so as they go hauling ass down the runway, Pilot lets them know that there is something in the road, something that is going to hit them. And we see that it's the Batmobile on the airway. And from there, the Batmobile crashes directly into the jet. And from the wreckage, we have Nightwing and we have Red Hood coming to take care of Wolfgang as he pops out the doorway and starts unloading a machine gun. And we see the two of them jump into action, with Red Hood taking his crowbar and just beating the crap out of this guy. Now Wolfgang is not dead, but this man is definitely going to need some reconstructive surgery after Red Hood is done beating his face in. And with him bleeding out on the ground, Red Hood tells him that they're going to take everything from him. And with the police showing up, they arrest Wolfgang. Red Hood then tells Dick Grayson that he was right, that seeing somebody get justice is a much better feeling than just simply ending their life. And so with the night coming to a close, they need to get the Batmobile back before Batman notices. And even though the Batmobile has a ton of damage done to it, the two brothers, they decide to keep this a secret between them, between brothers. And that, folks, was Nightwing 2021 Annual Issue Number 1. And what should come as a surprise to absolutely no one, Tom Taylor's first crack at a Nightwing Red Hood team-up was fantastic. It's no surprise Nightwing 2021 is predictable, yet the wholesome tale of family bonding was beautiful. And it makes sense since, it was written by Tom Taylor. The opening action sequence delivers high-stakes thrills and sets the stage for a gripping core conflict. Now, this subplot of an issue exists with an extended flashback, which depicts Jason Todd's early days as Robin, with Dick still bitter at being fired by Bruce and replaced. The Taylor's depiction of Jason and Dick's relationship is sure to please fans who want to see them bond over their shared criticisms of how Batman raised them both. However, for me, the more impactful plot point is Alfred himself, taking charge of mending the rocky relationship between Dick and Jason. Alfred's legacy and his fatherly bond with Dick is a major factor into Tom Taylor's main narrative, and so it's great to see an example of exactly how Alfred impacted Dick's life within this annual. It all amounts to a setup, as Alfred essentially lures and locks Dick into being in the same room as Jason in order to help them both come over their troubled relationship. These scenes are more poignant with the issue, and even though the physical stakes of their patrol together are low, the emotional stakes are so high. It's hard not to feel a tinge of excitement seeing Dick and Jason in their old school Nightwing and Robin costumes. And as things get darker, as Jason goes too far in punishing a would-be kidnapper, it really highlights their legacies then and their future legacies to come. Overall, Nightwing Annual 2021 Issue Number 1 gets a sexy 9.5 out of 10. And guys, if you like this video, make sure to hit that like button in order to show your support to the channel. And tell me, what are your thoughts and opinions on this issue? Are you guys excited for Nightwing Issue Number 87? Are you excited to be back in Bloodhaven and far, far away from Fear State? let me know down in the comment section below. And until the next video, peace.